I just heard the most interesting presentation you did on online dispute resolution services. We'll refer to it as ODR. Can you just give us a little summary of what exactly ODR is?
Well, ODR, as the term implies, is resolving disputes online. In other words, making use of technology, basically the internet, in order to resolve disputes. The distinguishing factor between ODR and present, or what I call traditional modes of dispute resolution, is the fact that parties to a dispute resolve their disputes without the need for physical interaction.
During your presentation, you also discussed some of the hurdles associated with ODR. Can you discuss some of those with us right now?
Well, most of the hurdles which I mentioned are actually hurdles that can be surmounted. I mentioned about identity because when in an online environment, you don't really know who you're talking to. So there's a need to be able to verify your identity online. Of course, in the case of a dispute, you're the disputants, and also where a third party is brought in, you need to know the identity of the third party. So in an online environment, it's important to be able to verify identity. But really, there are a number of other hurdles. The biggest hurdle is enforcement of the outcomes of an ODR process, especially when that is cross-border. When you have a dispute which has a cross-border element, because the country where you need to enforce the outcome may not recognize the process, or may require other elements in that process which are not there before that the outcome can be enforced.
You had mentioned that the New York Convention, which requires arbitration, and you had mentioned perhaps doing arbitration in the ODR process. Is that possible, and what are the issues with that?
Well, it is possible to have online arbitration, but what I mentioned is the fact that under the New York Convention, there's a need for due process, because if a party is not able to present its case, then the arbitral award will not be enforced by the jurisdiction where the award is sought to be enforced. So that is not a big problem, because normally ODR processes, and the attraction of ODR is the fact that it is very simple. It's very simple because you want it to be swift, you want it to be effective, but it may not qualify in order to be enforceable under the New York Convention. I think you must realize that the New York Convention was actually not meant for small value claims. It's meant for large commercial claims, and therefore there's a much higher level of process required before there can be enforceability of the award. For many ODR systems right now, my own view is that awards rendered under that system, even if it's an online arbitration, cannot be enforced. But you need to have more processes before an award can be enforced through an ODR process.
Great, thank you so much.